Well, welcome back to the Clocking Up the Winners podcast. In this episode, we're just going to have a look back at past years at the Cheltenham Festival, some good points, some bad points, some reflections, in a feature we like to call Reflections of the Cheltenham Festival. Very imaginative, I think you'll agree. And Andy, obviously, we've been going together for quite, well, not in a biblical sense, but we've been going to the Cheltenham Festival early 90s, probably?
Yeah, in our 20s,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, late teens, early 20s. Late teens for me, listeners. Mid-20s for Andy. And, you know, obviously we've seen quite a lot of water going under the bridge there at Cheltenham. Some belting days and some absolutely agonising ones.
Yeah.
What was your favourite moment, would you say, of the last 30 years now?
Favourite moment? Probably our Connor winning the Triumph Hurdle. That was one that springs to mind. It was in the days where the speed figures were playing more of a prominent role in how we formulated and attacked most anti-post betting races. And I felt as though the juvenile, like the 2-year-olds on the flat, the juveniles over hurdles, that they worked out really well because something had done a big number prior to Cheltenham. You were pretty sure that if he replicated that you were going to get a really good run. And our Connor just stood out in his year. He went to Leopardstown, won the Spring Juvenile, which is a Grade 1, good trial, and he won it in such a fast time that he'd only really had to replicate that run again to see him win at Cheltenham, and to see him win in the manner he did and justify your belief that he was that far ahead of the field. I mean, he went a 5-1 on the day, which looking back, he should have been a 6-4 shot based on our figures. So that was pretty sweet. You know,
the way he jumped as well, he was a bonny little horse, wasn't he?
He was just the perfect sort of model for a 4-year-old hurdler. You know, he wasn't overly big, but he was compact. He got good flat speed.
Yeah.
Brian
travelled like a dream.
Yeah,
didn't he?
Cooper just had an armchair riding him all the way through, and it was just a pleasure to watch.
Hard to believe that's 7 years ago this year.
2013.
7 years.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was a magic moment. Perhaps not such a magic moment in that race for you was when Upgrade won it.
No, that's going back a long way. 1998. Surprised we're still friends after that meeting.
It wasn't my fault.
No, it wasn't. No. It was. I think it was the times when very early.
It was
the early days of
times,
I started to do time. Read a few publications, your Nick Morden books and stuff like that, and trying to work out speed figures. And I don't think I was doing overall times at that point. I don't think I actually got.
I think Beatty was doing them. Our colleague Andy Beatty was doing those.
I don't think we'd got round to the Morden book just at that stage. I think it was just doing sectionals. We had a good colleague of ours, Steve Goff, didn't we, that was doing sectional times.
I think we had an overall time from, you know, when he won at Warwick, I remember Andy saying to us, and you got the circuit brilliant.
Possibly, yeah. It's that far back because I can't remember
what dust on it anyway, hasn't it?
But yeah, he did a really good time at Warwick, and I remember pointing out to you that this Upgrade could be a Triumph Hurdle horse. And I think after you popped to the betting shop and availed yourself of 25-1, and I just sat on my hands, and I think I was going through a rough time money wise, one thing or another. And
you must have been if you hadn't.
I know, yeah. And not only did Upgrade win the Triumph Hurdle, and I had to sit there in stony silence and watch it win. It was a meeting I'd never backed to win all week. And those days it was only a 3-day meeting. So
1998.
It wasn't so bad. So 1998 was I was in complete bits, back in ruin.
Annus horribilis for your
nightmare. I don't have to suffer that again.
No, and you know, obviously Cheltenham, it does. They say tames tigers, doesn't it, that place? But you know, there are some brilliant moments as well, and thankfully you bounced back because 2003 was probably a vintage year, wasn't it?
Yeah, again, that was another year where the time figures were becoming a little bit more professional, a bit more handy and more useful. And it was the time when I was spending a lot more time doing the Irish stuff. I think that was the point when I really started to take the Irish racing seriously, particularly the Irish jumpers. I was watching all the videos on the replays and doing the sectionals and doing the overall times based on the Nick Morden system. And Hardy Eustace really was a horse I dropped upon. He was doing some phenomenal times over in Ireland, and his trial run, I think it was at Naas or Navan, suggested to me that he was the real deal, and he came to Cheltenham second favourite to win the old one. I think it was the Supreme Novice, not the Supreme Novice.
Wasn't it?
Well, he's the Ballymore.
The Neptune, was it?
I think it was
the RS.
Yeah, it was the RSA Hurdle, wasn't
RSA
it?
Hurdle, yeah. Royal Sunlight.
That's right, yeah. And for him to do the business and win that day, I still remember me and you actually jumping up and down
Yeah.
on the we were actually the other side of the stands, we weren't watching on the big screen.
Yeah.
So that was a sweet moment when he justified again the belief that your numbers were working,
Yes.
and that they could work to such a brilliant effect.
Yeah, and that was under Kieran Kelly as well, who
I know.
Sadly no longer with us as well. I mean,
I know,
it seems
terrible.
to be a theme, doesn't it? This
Yeah.
that we're sort of highlighting the heroes of Cheltenham who are no longer with us, and Rith Dub was probably
That's one of your big ones,
yeah,
isn't it?
the National Hunt Chase when JT McNamara, God bless him, rode an absolutely fabulous race to beat Tim Brera. Still my favourite Cheltenham race, I think. It won't be many people's, but just the way that he rode that day. And you know, a lot of people say, well, you know, Carby's ride on Archibald and McCoy's ride Wichita Lineman to beat Mal Jamar. I mean, they were fantastic rides in their own right, but I mean, JT actually pulled off one of those waiting rides where he took a pull halfway up the hill. If you haven't seen it on YouTube, kids, it's definitely worth looking at. It's a magnificent piece of riding, and you know, yes, it meant a bit to me at the time. You know, trying to go for a naps competition in the Racing Post, but even that aside, it's still a fantastic piece of jockeyship and shows you, as we see now with Derek O'Connor and Jamie Codd and any number of good Irish riders, that you know, these lads who can't do the weight but are amateurs, they're just as good as the real deal. You know, they're good as the professionals, aren't they? They're phenomenal riders, and that was certainly a special moment. Old Rith Dub, bless him.
Yeah, I do remember that.
What a dodge he was!
He was a funny.
Total
He was a
dodge.
funny horse, but you two managed to mention it. But yeah, it helped you propel you up the nap stable and get you in a position where I think the competition ended the week after or something like that.
It was quite a truncated competition. I think I won it with the lowest ever figure, but anyway, got over the line somehow.
You went from being minus about 20 quid going into Cheltenham to all of a sudden in striking distance after it.
Yeah, it worked out quite well. You know, so we've had some great moments there as well, and also, I mean, another one that, you know, what could have been was Villiremix, wasn't it, in the Champion Hurdle?
Yeah, he was another
2002.
one of those disappointments where you just never know what would have been.
No.
I think that's always the problem with foalers horses that unfortunately leave us at Cheltenham. Gloriana Victus was another one for a lot of punters, but Villiremix was a nasty one, because I remember when he won his trial, I think it was the race that was run, the old Jerry Field hurdle, when he beat All he beat him pointless. I think he won by like 10 lengths on the brine. He thought, God, this is a tool. Yeah, they didn't run him up until the festival, and you know, apart from what happened to him, obviously he would have won very easily by the looks of it. He was going that well, so he was another one that could have been anything, and to back him anti-post and to have him look as though he's only got to go, he could just basically stay on all fours.
I think it took the Champ AP a long time to get over that, didn't it?
Yeah,
you know, it really did. It buried him for a long way, and we've seen some epic races which I've thought we've definitely come out on top in. And when they call the photo, Edredon Blur direct route.
That's another one, isn't
that
it?
Still wins for me, direct route.
Yeah, even when he goes past the line now, I still think he's won. I remember standing watching that race on the lawn thinking he's won, and it was only when they all Channel 4 when they did like the winning line, and you saw the horses come right onto the checkered line, and he got back up the near side. McCoy driving Edredon Blur for the inch of his life, with Norman stretching his arm out the other way. Yeah, so that was a nasty one. And you had one in the Coral Cup, didn't you?
Oh God, yeah. Old Native Dara, What's Up Boys, who was my nemesis, I think, because I'd gone for a little bit of a touch on Berrijan and the Hennessy, and What's Up Boys had somehow pulled it out of the fire and won that day. And then obviously in the Coral Cup as well. I think Native Dara, Barry Geraghty rode him.
That's right.
Before sort of Barry was, you know, the rider he is today, perhaps. And he went for home quite a long way out. I think it was definitely 60 or 70 to 1 on the Nanny Goes.
Yeah.
And I'd had a few quid on, and it went clear, and I thought, that's all over. And then What's Up Boys?
Yes.
The grey foreboding presence of What's Up Boys collared him on the line.
Probably he probably wouldn't have been 70 to 1 if you'd have gone and handed your ticket over. Had you won, £45.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and £3 a place.
Yeah. So probably wouldn't have been 7, but he was 71 at the time in your head anyway.
Yeah. So it's all about losses and successes, isn't it? Enjoy the successes and try not to let the losses bite too much. But hopefully you've enjoyed one or two recollections of past Cheltenham festivals. Hopefully we can make some memories of our own in a couple of weeks to come.